Right now, let's talk about something around the 10-point agenda for the next few minutes, so that now we can move on to something else. So with the 10-point agenda, you remember, of course, it was it happened after the handshake between
the president,
the president, let's say the Kenya Kwanza,
yes,
with
ODM.
yes. Specifically ODM.
Yes.
So then, remember, it was just immediately after the Gen Z's protest.
Yes.
There was 2024, and then there is,
2024,
2025, right?
Yes, yes.
So the broad-based is how old, by the way?
It's I think 1.5 now. It's going to 1.5. It's approaching 1.5.
Almost 2 years.
Yes, yeah. Almost, yeah. By the way, it's almost 2 years. Yeah. Almost
Actually, so the broad-based came in after the 2024, not the 2025.
Yes.
So because by the 2025, I remember when the young people were telling the late former Prime Minister to come out, he was already in government, right? He had already shaken hands with the president.
Yeah, true.
So the reason why they came up with this 10-point agenda were because actually it was supposed to address the issues that people had raised, and especially the young people, right?
Yeah.
So there were the extrajudicial killings of the young people. There are so many young people who lost their lives. So many, not even just young alone, by the way. Yeah.
Even children.
Yes, even watoi.
Yes.
Yeah. Why are you looking at him and
it's
laughing?
so bad.
Surely?
So bad.
What happened is they sat down and came up with this 10 points agenda.
Yes.
Remember, in our country, most of the time there have always been commissions set. Immediately after the elections, there came the NADCO,
Yes.
whereby people were to sit down and try to...
After the 2023 Sufuria
Yes,
movement
yes.
protests, yeah.
There was the NADCO report, which seemed not to have been fulfilled,
Yes,
right?
it
It was
has
chaired by
my party leader.
your party leader,
Yes.
Kalonzo Musyoka, His
From our
Excellency.
side and from their side, Kimani Ichung'wah.
Yes. So it seemed never to have worked. So now after that, so that was the first point that was included in the 10-point agenda.
Yes.
The
NADCO implementation
of the NADCO report. Remember, the NADCO report by itself already has a lot of things that were supposed. There is the police reforms.
Yes.
There were so many other things.
Audit of the previous elections.
Yes. So we came now to the current the 10 points agenda. Implement the NADCO report, and then now, kuna issues fighting of corruption.
Yes.
Yeah, cutting of this over expenditures.
Yes.
Cutting of this opulence,
Yes,
that we usually see.
Yes, especially after the president was globetrotting.
Yes. So there were so many other things. And the key one that stands out was the compensation of the people who lost their lives during people of police brutality.
Yes, victims.
Yeah, victims of police brutality.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, because as of today, we are waiting for that meeting whereby this report is going to be presented, and then we will be told how far we are with this. But then one thing that came out, because I think a majority of the people who are chairing the 10-point agenda, they come from the ODM. Actually ndio wanaongoza ile.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember the other day kina Gladys Awanga, the Homa Bay governor, akisema kuwa these things were not necessarily to be fulfilled, to be implemented immediately.
Yes.
So, well, it makes sense because some of these things, zingine si process ya one day. But then we just want to know, what are you expecting, for you, what are you expecting out of this report? What are you expecting out of this report?
Now, let me start by saying this. Let me tell you, if you go and study the president, you will note he creates a problem, then looks as if he's creating a solution, and in between that keeps you busy as if you're doing something, but what you are doing is like you're seated on a rocking chair. You see a rocking chair, how it moves like this and like this. You look as if you're moving, but you're not moving anywhere. You're just back timing. That is exactly what is happening with these NADCOs and this 10-point agenda. Let me tell you, the president never has goodwill. And without goodwill, we will never implement any of these things. Whether it be it NADCO, be it the 10-point agenda, be it compensation, it will never be fulfilled because the president does not have the goodwill. Number one, they were to the deadline for the implementation was March
On
7th.
Yes.
June 7th or March 7th? March 7th, yes.
Yeah.
So, 1 year is already down. Let me ask you, there is no single inch of achievement that has been done by this committee. Actually, it's called the Coin 10 Committee. There's nothing that has been done. And I expect nothing to be done because actually we are going into the politics season. And this time, people are up and down in campaigns. No one has got time to sit in committees in Nairobi. They're all in Mashinani doing their campaigns because of for the coming general elections. Number two, ODM, all what ODM is doing in this committee, they're just looking for positions. The likes of Akina Junet, Akina John Badi, their interest is on positions, not that 10-point agenda, not the implementation of the NADCO report. And I can assure you, I'll come back here by December. Nothing will have been implemented by that time. And something else you need to note. William Ruto, as the president, is just using this to keep people busy, to keep the voters, especially in Nyanza, to make them think that he's going to compensate them, but he won't. Nothing will happen. So I expect nothing from all these things. Actually, what will happen after the ODM NDC that is coming in March 2026, they'll move ahead and go to the campaigns and start power sharing deals. And from there, they'll start their campaigns, and nothing. And the NADCO and the 10-point agenda story will vanish in the air. Na hiyo story itaishia hapo. Nothing will happen.
So, the problem with my friend, just like his party leader and principles of the coalition, the confused coalition that he comes from, they're so obsessed with the name William Ruto. You have asked him about like his expectation, the report on the committee on 10-point agenda, but he has gone forward to mention to say the name William Ruto 10 times.
He's part of the
So
signatories.
I think it makes him happy. You can ask him to again repeat the same name 100 times in order to make his day. But now let's come to the point in agenda. We're expecting the report today, and we expect a positive report because since the formation of that task force, we can as well see the president and even the opposition, the ODM party. The 10-point agenda is actually a binding of a marriage between ODM and UDA. So we can both see the two parties have been committed to implementing the 10-point agenda. For example, agenda number 1 says the full implementation of NADCO report. What is the NADCO report? You are talking about reforms in National Police Service. And as much as we want to deny or play to the gallery and cameras, but we can all agree that the government, the Kenya Kwanza government, has been very committed in rolling out reforms in National Police Service. For example, things on modernization, and just the other day, I think it was somewhere around last year, I saw the Interior Cabinet Secretary giving out a policy directive to the Inspector General of Police on professionalism and use of arms by police officers, especially during protest and such like environments. So we can say that the government has tried to implement that specific point and many other reforms.
But let me ask you,
rooting from maybe the Maraga Task Force report, those recommendations. So
there were so many things
Yeah.
inside there. But now the question that has always been is, because actually, let me ask you something. Is it a matter of trying? For example, I mean, how hard is it for you to say that you are trying to tell somebody not to shoot an innocent Kenyan.
Exactly.
You see,
exactly.
It's just a question
Exactly.
because I think that one we should not use the word trying. It should stop.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. One thing we don't understand, I think we use the law selectively. Everyone has a responsibility in implementing, adhering to the law and order.
What
As much as
responsibility do I have about
as a
don't shoot?
responsible citizen, when you're going to a demonstration, you need to understand your limits in a demonstration. And a police officer also is supposed to understand their limits.
The
So both
demonstrators
of
are
you
usually
have a
peaceful.
responsibility to play. If a police officer is coming, for example, with the tear gas, and maybe he's shooting people, and you're responding with stones and whatever.
No,
both of
let
you
me
are
ask.
wrong.
During the Linda
We can
Mwananchi,
agree on that.
So let me ask
But
you-
I'm not
during
trying
the
to
Wait a minute.
wait a minute. I'm not trying to justify like police brutality. No one will agree with that because like where I see it, I understand like there's so many cases where police like went extra and maybe acted, or I don't know what they based on whatever they are doing and killed people without any justifiable reason. But my point is, as much like we condemning those police officers and we asking for them maybe to face the law, which a number of them are already in the courts. We can all see that, and it's one of the things that was in an article report, which is part number one of that 10-point agenda.
Yes.
So all of us has a responsibility to bring to the stop of police brutality. But anyway, the government has the bigger chunk of responsibility,
Yeah,
and we
sure.
can
Yes.
all agree that they're doing something about it. Number two, the 10-point agenda also speaks about strengthening devolution. We have already seen the government has tried to, despite the physical constraints that we have in our budget, the government has always tried to to disburse the allocation to devolve functions as much as early as possible. And also we have seen like a constant increase of the allocation to counties. So we can all agree that the government has done something about that point. The NADIC also, the 10-point agenda also speaks about inclusivity. We can all agree, look at the current cabinet we have, where it comes from. We have a cabinet secretary. I'm very sure where you come from.
Those
you
are
have a
political
cabinet secretary.
rewardees.
You can call it the way you want, but they represent the image of the country. And like sometimes back when we
So
had
you want to tell me
when we
John
had
Badi-
almost the whole cabinet from a specific region,
No,
which I'm
no,
not
no,
going
no,
to
no, no,
mention.
no, no. You want to
So
tell me
what
John
is-
Badi
and
John?
that
Let me ask
inclusivity-
John Badi, Ali
No, no,
Hassan Joho,
let me finish up. He'll have
Opio
his
and
time
I.
to
You want to
respond.
tell me they were there because of inclusivity?
He'll
Those
have
are
his time
political
he'll have his
rewardees.
time to
Okay,
respond. And
okay.
Inclusivity, it's not even just about like whatever you put in it. Inclusivity, it also means even like getting the people from opposition.
Actually,
to
most
the
people,
government.
most
That's
appointments in this
inclusivity.
government,
Because when
most
we're going to-
appointments in
when-
this
when we're going
government
to an
are
election-
political
Hold on, let me finish up.
rewards.
Let me finish up.
Okay.
You can't tell me that Ruto wanted to reward John Mbadi. That Ruto wanted to
Yes,
reward
he was
Hassan
rewarding
Joho.
Raila.
What did Joho
yes,
do to
because
Ruto
Raila came through
to
for
get a
him.
reward?
Raila came
we
through
can't argue on
for him during the Gen Z
when we're
protest.
going to an election, it's only 2027 election when we're going to have like only one party that is going to have an agenda, while the other one is not going to have an agenda.
We have
But
an
in
agenda, many
2022,
agendas.
we had two parties that both had an agenda. We had Azimio, they had the agenda, which is actually a replica of what UDA had. And inclusivity here means like we're doing whatever we wanted to do. And since we share an agenda which is actually to the benefit of common mwananchi, we're inviting you to come and donate your expertise so that we move this country forward. And that's what we did. So on part of inclusivity, we have a cabinet, and this is supposed to reflect actually not only in the cabinet, but in all sectors in the country. So as
Cost of living?
Yeah, as much as we're not yet there, but at least we're making efforts and we're almost there.
Say something
You're saying
about cost of living.
Yes. You know, when President William Ruto took this country, we can remember his coalition leader the then deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, told you, like, we found a dilapidated economy. We found empty coffers. And it's true. It's
The
true.
coffers were empty.
They
The
were
coffers were
empty,
empty,
yeah?
the economy was dilapidated. And you see, and it's not just a matter of saying, the numbers has it, because at that time, inflation rate, this country, we had an inflation of about 9.6%, which has gone down today to 3.4%. We had at that time, our GDP at that time was about $114 billion. Today, we are speaking of a GDP from between 136 to 140 GDP. We're having an annual economic growth, GDP growth of about 5% annual rate. We have moved, our economy has moved from 8th place as the largest economy in Africa, from 8th to 6th place.
Let me ask.
We have our just the other day, actually, I think it was last week, the National Treasury actually announced that for the first time we have hit 14 trillion foreign reserve, 14 trillion foreign reserve, the highest in history. So this.
So let me ask you, why is this thing not being felt down here by the common
Yes.
mwananchi?
Why is
You
it-
see,
You
why
know,
is it
when
not
we talk
being
of
felt?
an economy that is doing quite well,
Yeah.
it should be felt by the people.
Yeah, you see, let me tell you. Actually, one of like in our bottom-up economic transformation agenda, one of the key pillars that we had is stabilizing the economy. And this is not just about numbers, but we actually told people that tunaleta pesa mfukoni. And unless we want to be mean, but we can all agree, we're saying, unless we want to be mean
Mimi
and
sina
say,
pesa,
Let me tell you
ndugu yangu.
something. Let me tell you
Ndugu yangu
something.
sina pesa.
Le-
If
Let
you
me
want
t-
that
let me
money,
tell
you
you
can
why.
share.
Let me tell you
You
why
see,
all these things
no,
he's
no.
saying
Let me
are not
finish
being
up.
infected
Let me
to
finish
citizens.
up. Let me finish up. You
Okay,
have this
finish
time
up.
to
Yes,
respond.
finish up.
You see, unless we want to be mean and say that Mwananchi is not feeling this, but we all know where for example, the basic need of Mwananchi is food. We all know where the price of even 2 kg of funga was in 2022 when Ruto was taking over.
How
and
much
you can
was it?
compare it to today. It was about 240 and you couldn't even pick two packets of funga from a supermarket shelf. Today you can go and pick even 100 of them at between 120 to around 150 shillings. That's one of the most, at least every Mwananchi can feel. And this has not come
Personally, I
about
can't
by just
feel.
a miracle.
Personally, I'm
Let
not
me tell you
feeling,
why you
I'm
cannot
not
feel
feeling
it.
that.
Let-
You
let
know
me-
what?
yeah.
There's also another thing that you need to look at when you say the numbers that we are getting, and that's why sometimes we want to. We've been asking ourselves. Yes, we are saying that the economy is doing quite well, right? But then why is it that we can't feel it down here? Let me answer you. The other day, they gave a report saying that the Kenya, we have so many billionaires. We have a few people
yes.
owning billions. They are billionaires, while we have the rest of the population down here.
Yes.
So of course that the billions they have up here, of course, it's gonna once it's averaged, of course it's gonna bring the people who are down here
Yes, the
to
figures,
be at least.
yes.
But those are figures.
Yes.
They are still experiencing the high cost of living down here.
You see,
Let me tell you something.
there's
You see this
something-
week.
hold on, she asked me a question.
Okay.
You see, there's something, I keep on repeating something called bottom-up transformation agenda. I think from here, I'll share with you a copy so that you understand what Kenya Kwanza government intended to do. It's true whatever you're saying. We have few people at the bottom of economic pyramid holding billions of money.
Billions, yes.
And at the bottom of the pyramid, you have so many people that even are going home without anything.
Yes.
And the intention of Kenya Kwanza administration was to do what we called wealth redistribution, such that instead of trickling down something small from the top to the bottom, let's now invest at the bottom so that it trickle upwards. So it's from trickle up to trickle down. And that's what we're doing. You know, sometimes in economics, some things might not be felt immediately. And actually, it's one of the reasons why we're saying we have to give Ruto 2 terms.
3 years
so
is
at-
long
so
time.
that
Now
at
3
the end
years.
of the day,
3 years is long term.
It's
see,
more than
to
enough.
stabilize
Yes,
the,
more
the,
than
the,
enough.
the economy of the
And we have already stabilized the economy. That's why
No, it
inflation
has not.
is
Let me
down
tell.
at
Let me explain.
3.4%
Let
up
me
from
let me
9.8.
explain.
Or
Just
how
give me 1
else
minute.
can you-
Okay,
how
yeah.
else can
1
you
minute.
describe
yeah,
a stable economy?
stabilizing it by creating few billionaires
yes.
and many poor people
Let,
down
let me
here.
ask you.
JM Karaoke actually
are we
used to say,
saying these
"Inchi-
billionaires have been created by Ruto administration?
We have so many people becoming billionaires. I don't want
These
to. I don't
billionaires-
want to name
these
people
billionaires
wenye
have been
tumewaona
there.
juzi
These
wakianza
billionaires
siasa
have
sahi. They are big billionaires.
These billionaires are not a creation of Ruto administration. That's why we say that our agenda is to invest at the bottom of economic pyramid. That's what actually inspired our manifesto. So we can't say that Ruto has created these billionaires. But what we all agree is that we need to do something about it. And the first step that we needed to do is first to stabilize the economy, which was going to the dogs, cutters of his handshake government. But we
William
have
Ruto
done
was our
that.
deputy president in that
Our
government.
currency is now stable. We have enough foreign reserve. We have
Let me tell you,
a low
foreign
inflation.
reserves won't help me in Kawangware.
The next phase,
Foreign reserves would help Wajiko in
hold on.
Nyeri.
The next phase
Our
now
large
is
foreign
to
reserves.
start investing now in people, now putting money in their pockets. And that's why we're coming up with things like affordable housing, which not only intend to give people modern, dignified housing, but also to create employment opportunities.
Let me tell you how bad the economy is. Let me leave the facts bare
But,
here.
but before he
Allow
says
him.
that,
Allow
before he
him.
says
You've
that,
had your time. Allow
Yes.
him to.
Give me,
let me clarify something.
yes.
Before he says that, remind him that economy, there's indicators of economy. So when you're talking about an economy, a good economy or a bad economy, you must point out the indicators.
I'll point them out.
Talk about inflation, talk about the GDP, talk about the foreign reserves. Those are the only things that will tell you if an economy is doing good or not. But you can't just shout economy is bad, the economy is bad.
Now, let me tell you something. Actually, this week, our domestic debt hit 7 trillion. 7 trillion. And let me explain to you how that affects our country.
You're saying the domestic debt.
Yes, domestic.
Okay.
Domestic.
Yeah, because
Local.
cumulatively,
Yes,
I think
it's
it
12
should be
trillion.
12 point something.
Yes,
Yes.
now cumulatively it's 12,
domestic, yes.
but our domestic debt is at 7 trillion. Do you know what that means? It means that our local banks will be charging a higher interest rate, meaning the government has overborrowed internally that even the citizens themselves cannot obtain loans for their upkeep, for their businesses, for their investments. You see? Now, let's go to the larger debt, which is the 12 trillion debt. Our GDP to debt to GDP ratio today is at 70%. I saw John Buddy trying to concoct some figures saying it's 60, but it's not 60, it's 70%. Actually, John Buddy was having a hard time at Citizen TV trying to convince some about that figure, 65%, but he was having a hard time. Do you know what that means? It means the government has got a very high debt to service, a very high debt to pay, meaning most of the country's resources will be looking towards paying debts, meaning government cannot have money for development. Not having money for development means people cannot access basic services. There cannot be money for development, meaning the money for healthcare won't be available. Which also means that government cannot also not spend on projects, meaning also jobs won't be there. You know, once the government does not spend on projects and infrastructure, then there's no jobs. Again, government is also servicing those debts with high interest rates, meaning a lot of money that we as taxpayers contribute yearly will be going towards debt servicing and debt payment. So niambie ni development gani tutakuwa nayo when a lot of our taxes, a lot of our hard-earned money, which is being taken from our pay slips to build affordable houses, which by the way, by today sijaiona mtu yoyote anaishi kwa hizo affordable houses. Ama wewe unaishi kwa affordable houses? We start with you. We start with you. Do you live in?
Let me tell you, the other day, of all the people I've met, the other day I met one person.
You see,
Yeah.
during
A young man
independence,
who told me that he's living in an affordable house in somewhere in Otawala.
And that is one person.
Yes.
let me tell you, during
In comparison,
our
in
founding
comparison,
father-
in
just a
comparison,
minute.
let me
During
ask.
independence, our founding father told us like one of the diseases that Kenya was going to fight post-independence is ignorance. And I thought that we had made like a very big stride to fight ignorance, but I'm saddened to realize like,
I was also not done. I don't know why he's taking my time. I'll give you time to explain that ignorance. Now, I was saying, for the affordable housing, I haven't seen anyone who lives in those houses. Yet our pay slips have been greatly reduced by those taxes, which also includes the affordable housing levy. Away from that, let me also touch on something else that is also going to affect us. And this is something that was done yesterday. The infrastructure fund. Let me tell you, that is the biggest scam
I think
in East and Central Africa.
About one of the points in 10-point agenda, and we had not exhausted that before you come to infrastructure fund. And he was trying to talk about a very important thing, the national debt, which is actually a very serious matter in this country. I was expecting, when we tell you people you need to get a plan and agenda, it's because we are in the government and we know where the government.
But our public debt is also. Let me tell you. You see, for this coming budget, you see, for the forthcoming budget, an additional 435 billion will be needed to ensure that we have met the expectation of the oncoming budget.
You see,
and all that money will come from a debt. The government will have
to
go for a debt somewhere.
We have a very big problem in terms of national debt. And one thing we did also to agree, the national debt that we're having is not a ruto problem or a Kenya Kwanza administration problem. We all know where the national debt was in 2013 when Ruto took over this government.
Yes, but also William Ruto was in that government.
It was at
1 point something.
1 point. It was at about 1.3. Then when Uhuru left, it was at 8.3. And so far, I think William Ruto has raised it for the time he has been there. 5 point something trillion.
You see, the problem
No, it
is...
should be, what I know is approximately Ruto has borrowed like 1 trillion every year.
Yes.
You see...
For the time that he has been in office.
Yes.
You see... And when Uhuru was in the office, he used to borrow more than that.
No, Uhuru borrowed like around, is it 8?
Let's not forget
8.3.
His debt was 8 for the 10 years that he was in office.
This is my point.
Why are you escaping that fact?
This is my point. Let me clear. I'm not escaping anything, unlike you. So my point is, the national debt is a very serious issue in this country. And as he said, like our budget is very constrained to a point where like you cannot even build a road. He knows that, and he is the same person who keeps asking for roads, and he knows the budget is constrained. We can't even build a road.
But a road, and you saw the budget for State House.
But
you see at 16 billion.
We have
Where is the
roads
priority
under
there?
Construction everywhere. But he should ask, where did we get the magic to implement that? And that's where root economics come in. So the national debt is a very serious matter, and one of the actually point in 10-point agenda that we expect and report today is the forensic auditing of the national debt.
Yes.
Remember, sometimes back, not long ago, the president set up a special committee to go to audit the national debt and table a report, because we have a feeling as a country that we might be paying ghost debts because we're having a very big debt, but we can't like measure the impact that
you can't feel it in the economy.
We can't feel it. So it means it's either it's a ghost debt, or we borrowed this money and some people pocketed. So when we wanted to do that audit, his people were the first person to run to the court to stop that committee, that task force. We
But
all
right
know
now,
that.
even as we speak right now, I know there is a case in court presented by Okiya Omtata around the odious deaths.
Yeah,
Yes.
So we are eagerly waiting to see what comes out of that. Sawa.
Okiya Omtata wants the government to audit the odious debt.
Yes.
But at the same time, his accomplices, which are also members of the so-called confused opposition, are the ones still running to the court to stop the audit committee from doing
No,
the
wait a minute.
forensic
Let's
audit.
just wait and see what comes out of
Yeah,
that
so
odious
until
death
then-
case.
until
But I
then-
want to also tell you, to give you also an assignment as to why an inflation rate may be low, sour, but still the cost of living is still high. That is what we are experiencing in our country right now. So you can just go and research about that.
You see, I can respond to that right now. You see, inflation, the cost of living is affected by different factors.
So many factors.
Yes.
One, that inflation is one, and also the GDP, and also what people can raise in a day. You see, when you have more jobs and many people get something at the end of the day, of course they'll be able to afford whatever they need, the purchasing power. So as much as we're having a low inflation, we also know that for the longest time, one of the biggest battles that the country has been fighting is the question of unemployment. And so as much like we're having a low inflation, still we have people who are going home without something.
So that's
and
why
it's because
I
of
don't even,
unemployment.
so I don't want us to talk much about it. But now to the Kenyans outside there, the citizens, you can just go and see, because now when the government comes out and says, now we brought inflation down, but still, our what Kenyans want is low cost of living. That's basically what Kenyans
Yes, that is
want.
what people want.
So you can just go and research and see why we would have low inflation but still the cost of living. You cannot mkate unanunua bado kwa bei ya 75
70 shillings.
Sijui maziwa unanunua at what time. So na our goal or what Kenyans want is that low cost of living. So
those
hizi
figures,
stories
the government is
zingine-
just cooking.
Let me
Yes.
clear for a minute. If I earn 100 150 shillings in a day, then the government reduces the price of a packet of 2 kg of unga from 240 to 120. We can agree on two things. One, the government has reduced the cost of living. But two, still, I can't comfortably afford that product. Okay? And so the question is why? So the first assignment of the government, of the Kenya Kwanza administration, was first to stabilize the economy, which actually is to bring down the cost of living. And two, it's now to put money in the pocket of Kenyans so that they can afford that low cost of living.
So that's why I'm saying,
so that's why the government is turning around everything to make sure that they create employment opportunities and so
that's
that
why
people
I'm
can
saying,
afford that low cost of living.
basically, you will not come and tell me that I have treated you, yet I am still sick.
Yes.
So me, what I want is to get well.
Yes.
So basically, even myself as a Kenyan, what I want is a low cost of living. So whatever the government does, it has all the machineries, it has our taxes. They collect our taxes every now and then. So it is up to the government to ensure that we are there because they promised us,
I
and
can
therefore
promise
no,
you.
And it's very correct. You
By
cannot say you
2032, I
are
have
providing
treated you
healthcare
and
services.
actually- and actually
You'll be well.
immunized you.
2032.
from
We
future
cannot wait.
diseases.
We cannot
Okay,
wait.
anyway, so about around the 10 points agenda, of course, we have touched some of the key ones. And of course, the issue of the compensation of the victims of the police brutality. We know there was that commission that was created, but then we know a case is still in court.
Yeah.
Is it yesterday? But one again, I saw the president having changed he updated the list, right?
Yes, yeah. The task force.
That task force. So we're still waiting to see what comes out of that. So about the report, tunangoja tuone tutaambiwa nini. Yeah. So
hiyo task force
because I don't want us to
usingoje kitu yote kwa hiyo
agenda
task force. Nothing will happen.
There's one thing about 10-point agenda you're forgetting.
because of time. Actually, we only have 3 minutes remaining.
Okay.
actually.
Because of time, eh? Okay.
Yeah, because of time, we are done. That's why I was saying now the other thing. I'll just give you 1 minute each to say something around the infrastructure bill that was
Yes,
passed
as-
yesterday. 1 minute
yeah.
each, so that now we can wind up.
Okay. So on the infrastructure fund, let me just say this. It's going to be one of the biggest scandals this country has ever witnessed. You can imagine a fund that has got no oversight, either from parliament, even the auditor general cannot do anything about it. I'm telling you, the infrastructure fund, practically speaking, is a fund whereby John Buddy can wake up in the morning and decide that I want to go to Dubai. Let me go and take some 2 billion from that fund, and no one can ask him a question. That's how bad it is. No oversight at all. So let me tell you the truth. The infrastructure fund is going to be used as a political tool to buy off people and for campaigning. Yes, there's no coincidence that it has just come up 1 year before elections. It's just a campaign kitty and a kitty to ensure that
But
people...
the president, I've seen the need to make Kenya, to align Kenya
to the
towards
Singapore dream.
Singapore. Yes.
Let
So
me
that's
ask,
why he wants to put up different infrastructure. We want to modernize the Jomo Kenyatta International. Actually, he said that is
that's the first project.
Yes.
But let me ask, did Kibaki need an infrastructure fund? Why can't the president be constitutional for once? Yes, you want to tell me we cannot find money in this government of ours and ensure that we are improving our airports and maybe build roads and all this infrastructure? You want to tell me that we do not have the capacity as a country? If the State House can afford a budget that is bigger than the White House in United States of America, a budget for State House that is bigger than the one for Kremlin in Russia, which country is this? What is it that we are doing that is bigger than United States? A country that that has got a population, the United States of America has got a population of over 300 million people. That's more than 6 times our country. But the White House runs on way less. But State House runs on more than 16 billion. That's what they want from our budget. And then you want to tell me hawana pesa ya kujenga barabara, that they need an infrastructure fund. Why? I've told you that fund is scandalous. Hiyo itatumika kuwa pesa ya campaign. It will be a campaign tool to buy off people, to buy off candidates, but they won't succeed. That is just scandalous. It's unconstitutional, null and void.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You know, infrastructure fund is something that is very much welcomed, and actually it's something that it was long awaited. We needed it like many years ago.
Yeah.
Kenya, we have waited for so long to become a first world country, and we can't wait for too long again to catch up with our economic peers that we had during independence, the likes of Asian tigers. And infrastructure fund is coming to fix that. He just said a few minutes ago that we're having like a very constrained budget. We have like now the current budget is about 4.29 trillion. With a revenue estimate of about 2.7 trillion. And we're using 2.3 trillion to service debts. We are left with about 1.3 or 1.4 trillion for everything, including recurrent expenditure and development, which is not enough. So we can't wait until when we'll be able to have enough revenue to cater for our budget so that we roll out the much needed infrastructure projects that the country needs to become a Singapore. So infrastructure fund is coming. The National Infrastructure Fund is coming to fix that. We're going to pool resources from all the
by selling
the outlined
public property
resources, and to be able to finance these projects, starting with our national pride, the international Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We're also going to do a lot in terms of energy generation, and we're also going to roll out massive road constructions across the country to trigger and to start the journey to Singapore. So the infrastructure fund is a good thing for the country, and we should be happy for the president for looking forward, for being
How
a
do you
vision.
what's your your thought around the structure of it and the oversight bit of it, because we have seen in our country how things start well. Like the president has a good idea. It's a good idea. But
You
then
see-
now, what happens now with those people planning
You see,
to get rich from that fund?
You see, the problem with some people associating with people who have been in leadership for over 40 years without providing anything or developing anything
No, let's
is
talk
because
about
they have
this.
instilled
No,
in them
stop
a culture.
escaping.
Yeah. I'm
You
not
are
escaping.
escaping.
I'm
Yes,
not escaping.
Finish this because of
yeah,
time.
Yeah. I'm
We
just
have
giving,
actually 1 minute.
It's okay. I'll be done. I'm just giving you context. Like some people for 40 years, the only achievement they have done is to instill a culture in people that there's nothing that can be done and there's no leader who has a goodwill. And I can surprise you, for the first time, you're having a president and a government who has that has a goodwill to implement things like the way they're supposed to be and the way they're articulated in the constitution. So you don't have to worry about anything.
Kenyans should not
You have not
worry.
answered
So
the question,
basically,
though.
you are saying that Kenyans should not worry about what happens with the infrastructure fund.
It's a
We
naked
can be
fund.
sure
It cannot
that-
be
We can be
oversighted.
sure that this fund is going to work for Kenyans in terms of the developments that we are looking to.
Exactly. There's
Okay.
nothing to worry about.
Okay, thank
All
you so
good.
much. So
Okay.
I think up to this moment, thank you so much for coming, my guest. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for
Thank
the
you for having us.
yeah, for the pleasant, the good conversation that we've had here. So thank you to the dear viewers for choosing the Citizens Mic podcast. This is the platform whereby you'll be able to get the opportunity to voice out your issues, like to give out your ideas, and the citizens outside there, of course, they are going to receive you. So until next time, take care. My name is Tricia Wayua.